just coming back from spending a short time at Slab City, California, and I'm not going to take a lot of time in this video to talk about everything that I saw, but I want you to know that it's very similar. When you approach Slab City as a visitor, it's very similar to where I used to live in Las Vegas. I lived in Las Vegas for 25 years, and anybody who lives in Las Vegas for a long time, unless you work on the Strip, you try and stay away from the Strip. It's just not what your life is about. So when visitors would come, and relatives or whatever would come to town, they were interested in the fact that I lived in a regular neighborhood and stuff, but that wasn't what they came for. They came to see the sights, to go to the Strip, to gamble, to do stuff. And it's kind of the same thing at Slab City as an outsider. Anybody who isn't at the slabs or committed to the slabs is an outsider. And so we go to see the sights. We go to see Salvation Mountain, we go to see East Jesus, we go to see California Ponderosa, or the Fallout Shelter, or the Range. And all these things are great, but they're all populated by people who live there. And when we as outsiders show up, a lot of times we forget to respect the fact that we are in someone else's home. The people that live there have to put up with the fact that we outsiders and tourists come to visit. Now, there's plenty of room and nobody's going to complain about it, not to your face. But if you go hang out at the Oasis Club, which is a morning coffee hangout where people are, well, every day you hear people talking about the issues of the slab and different things. And every once in a while you'll say, how come an outsider comes in and tries to tell us what to do or how to do something better? And there's just this sense that they know they have to put up with the outsiders, but the outsiders, like me, and like you if you're watching this video probably, is that we don't understand how to stop being a tourist visiting their home and really relate to people in that home. Trust takes a long time to build up with people, as you probably know, and it takes just a second for it to be gone. It's like filling up a bucket, a spoonful at a time. If you're consistently doing that, then the person's bucket that you're filling up with trust, they begin to count on you. But all you have to do is poke one hole in that bucket, and all of a sudden all that trust drains away. And that's something you kind of need to understand. This is a community and a society, and it is misjudged and misunderstood because of a movie Into the Wild that made me aware of Slab City, and a lot of other people aware of Slab City. Of course, it's been an interest for people to come there for the last 15 or 20 years, ever since the movie came out. My impressions of the slab are that it's a rewarding experience. If you come in with preconceived ideas that it's a lawless place, you'll be wrong. It's not a lawless place. It's a free place in many ways, but there are laws and they are enforced. You don't have a list of them, but it's just like any informal organization. When you work for a corporation or something like that, you've got listed out who the officers are and the structure of the corporation. And the same with the community. I mean, you know who the mayor is, you know who the police chief is, et cetera, et cetera. But then there's the informal organization that actually runs the place. This happens in churches and stuff like that too. You can have an influential family in your church who isn't necessarily in the formal organization, but it's like, hey, it's kind of like nothing really gets by without going through this family. Same thing with smaller communities, even larger communities. So when you come into this community, bring something. It doesn't mean bring money, it doesn't mean bring stuff necessarily, but if you can wash dishes, if you can get involved with helping to build something, come and bring something. That's what it takes to be a part of the slab and begin to fill up that bucket of trust. Of course, there are a lot of people that just don't get it. They live there, and they're there for all kinds of different reasons, and it's just like living in a city someplace. But you get to know your neighbors, and you get to trust them, and you get to work with them, and you get to care about them. One of the things that's really truly there is a caring community for those people that have been there for a while, and they can sense a good spirit. I mean just a good heart, and I guess they can sense a bad one too. One of the things I appreciate about it is that people are living. Nobody looks you up and down, at least not while you're, at least not to your face. People look you in the eye when they speak to you, or when you're speaking to them, if they get a sense of trust. And it's a great place to come back to. Come and spend a short amount of time. If you're doing the tourist thing and you stay for a couple of weeks, you'll get to see all the stuff. You'll get to see I guess I call it the shower pit or the shower hole, which is where water runs in, and you can go down a ladder and kind of get a shower, and you can go to the Oasis and have coffee, and you can go up to the Fallout shelter on Mondays and get a free meal, and watch a couple of movies. And on Wednesday night there's other stuff that's going on at different places, and you can do all that stuff. You can go to the Salton Sea, you can walk on the beach at the Salton Sea, you can do all this in the area. That's if you're playing tourist. But if you really want to know what Slab City's about, you got to spend a bit of time, and you got to be open. You got to be open and honest about yourself, and not be afraid to be obviously a newbie. And don't try and give yourself a nickname either, because they'll just smile at you, because they're going to call you what they're going to call you. And if you get a nickname, hopefully it's one you like. So anyway, my impressions of Slab City, I said I wasn't going to take a lot of time, but I'm sorry, I'm moved by what I saw there. And it isn't home, but there's some people there that people are what make home. And it isn't Slab City, it's just that's where the people are. And so what I'm so moved by are the relationships that started and I've made. It's easy to be friends on Facebook, but I'll tell you, when you're friends face to face and you meet somebody and you just have that quick connection, and there's sadness when you leave. I've heard it said that some people bring joy wherever they go, and some when they go. Well, fortunately, I don't feel like I was the latter, but there's some relationships that I'd like to keep going. And I hope to be able to come back to Slab City again. If I come back to Slab City again, I'll be bringing what I can bring and continue to learn and grow and build those relationships. I don't know that I could ever live in Slab City, but I'll tell you what, there are a lot worse places I can think of to live. And sometimes judges send you to those places. And sometimes faults that you make with the law send you to those places. But what you hear about Slab City, it's raw truth, it's raw energy, and everyone is learning to get along. Even the ones that aren't getting along everybody's got a cell phone, so pretty much everybody's got a cell phone. So the police come out when there's some kind of violence or something like that. You hear yelling, you hear screaming, you hear this kind of stuff. But I'll tell you what, that's not that much different than some of our neighborhoods. You're free to come and go, as long as you respect property lines, which is moral property lines, because I don't know that anybody owns where they are, but you just have to respect it, and you will be respected as well. Is if you're going to visit the slabs, look at the stuff that's there, but look what's behind it. But when they hear me talk about the slab, they hear me talk about the people, talk about what I met and how I feel about it, I can testify firsthand to what I saw there. And if you take the time to go there and don't judge and be respectful and realize that you're in someone else's home, or around someone else's home and respect those boundaries and be yourself, you'll not only have a good time, you'll have some good stories and maybe come away with some good friends. So I'll tell you in a year if I came away with some good friends, but I'll tell you right now, they have a good friend in me, the ones that I'm now. Thanks for watching.